Hello everybody, Shelly here. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you guys are here. Today I'm doing a dupe video. I know that everybody has a certain sort of thought, whether you're 100% behind them because you're fiscally strapped and you just really love the look, love makeup, but can't justify the expense of the higher end stuff, perfectly fine with that. Or if you're someone who on the far end of the spectrum is just, that's the creator's creation, that's the artist's work, and it should not be plagiarized, should not be duped, should not be whatever else. I am not here to judge either side of that, you guys. I am here just to bring you content. Today, we are talking about the Alter Ego Luster palette, which is purportedly a dupe for the Pat McGrath Labs Mothership 7 Divine Rose palette. Neither one of these are particularly new at this point. There's been a lot of people that have done dupes for both of them. A lot of people have done videos for both of them. This is the Divine Rose palette, and this is a super everyday wearable palette, and I love it. And then there's the Luster palette, and I know a lot of you guys live for the dupe content. So I went ahead and picked this one up. So now I have a lot of money invested into both these palettes. Not so much. This one's actually runs about $16, I believe, before any coupons or discounts. They do often use creators discounts. I don't have any affiliate codes with them, so I apologize for not, but there are ones out there. I think Allie Glines has one. Probably Hot Mess Mama has them. There's a bunch. Like, you can find a coupon if the $16 is still a little bit out of your reach. The Pat McGrath Labs one, the only thing I can say about this is register for her website. She does often do like 10% coupons on discounts on certain things. She does do sales occasionally, or Sephora VIB sale. Those are the two ways you can get this palette on sale. I think this one's $129. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna use the same set of brushes, but I am gonna color switch them on both sides. I do have them both, my eyelids prepped with the Natasha Denona Eye Shadow Base. Sorry, my nails are kind of chipped. Apologize for that. And we're just gonna pick a side. We're gonna do one look on one, or one palette on one side, one palette on the other side, and we'll see if we can't create the same look. Now, we're not going to be able to compare the formula. I can tell you in advance right now, the two, for me, the two top tier formulas in the world, for me personally, are Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath Labs. So I'm not here to compare a $16, Alter Ego palette with that. However, I can tell you that with a lot of the dupe brands like Alter Ego, C Color Cosmetics, recently W7, I've discovered, has actually really good formula. They tend to be a little bit powdery, a little bit more powdery, and maybe not so tightly pressed, but I feel like they sometimes perform very well. So you can't really compare the formulas, but I can speak that in general, I've enjoyed some of the dupe formulas. We're gonna actually compare colors today. That's kind of our purpose here. So I'm gonna use the Pat McGrath Labs on my good side. I normally do this on my wedding ring side, and I'm gonna do the Alter Ego side on my not so good side. We'll call this the Morganite side because that's the ring I have on there today. On my lips, just for fun, I've got a Morphe lip liner. This is in the shade BFF. I love this one. And then I actually just took one of the e.l.f. tinted lip oils. Do we have a color? Pink Kiss. Okay, so I've got Pink Kiss lip oil over the top of just a little bit of lip liner, the BFF. I thought the lips looked pretty, so I thought I would share that with you. The rest of the makeup, I think, is Pat McGrath. Pulled over from something else I was filming earlier. Okay, let's get into this here. Let's start with a little bit of a transition color. I'm going to use this kind of cool toned mauve. I got kick up. I'm not upset by that. It's just, it is what it is. I need to move you in, I'm sorry. So rude to have not scooted you guys in. Okay, subtle wash of color, very pretty. This palette I have found does really, really good work looks, glasses looks, that kind of thing. Cleaning off my brush, going into the Alter Ego side. The shades are not laid out exactly the same, but they don't give you too many, so we're not gonna, a little less kick up. That's interesting. They're not labeled the same. The palette is not called the same. They're not even laid out the same in the actual palette itself. Like the shade pans are not in the same place. But we know them to be purported dupes, right? Not fakes, dupes, inspired by. Okay, that one I feel like went on a little patchier than the Pat McGrath Lab, again, just for information purposes only. Going over it a little bit more just to kind of deepen up that color and make it more consistent. Now I feel like I need to go back into the Pat McGrath Labs. Build that color up a little bit. Yeah, both of these build up perfectly. I am seeing no patchiness. Actually, this, when I see it on my eye, if I stand back and kind of look, I do feel like the Alter Ego got a little patchy, but for me, that's not going to be the color I leave on everything, all over everything. Run into another matte here. Let's go into this darker mauve color. I should be looking at the names, but because she doesn't have them right on palette, such a pretty rose shade. And I think when it's on top of that first matte shade, I think it almost makes it a slightly different color. Having to kind of bring it in, really having to kind of go over it a bunch of times. Color's very, very pretty. Yay! Okay, let's go into it on the... So we're going into Opaque, which is this shade up here. Wait, I didn't screw up this whole thing. No, I didn't. This is the right one. I was confused at first because they're not in the same order. I have to kind of double check and make sure I am grabbing the ones. Because they're not in the same order and they're not like clear dupe. This one's actually a shimmer, whereas the Pat McGrath Lab, this same shade is not a shimmer, which is interesting. I like it. I don't mind it. I just wouldn't have necessarily chosen that for my kind of crease or further transition shadowy shade here. I've got a clean brush and buffing that in a little bit. And it buffed in. It's okay. I still feel like it got a little patchy, but and then I cleaned off the brush, buff in the Pat McGrath Labs one too, just so that I don't have ledges, lines, that kind of thing. Color wise, you know, right now they're looking very similar, and I almost don't even notice the shimmer on this side. It's like it's not jumping out at me as going, oh, hey, you're drastically different. I'm not getting drastic. Okay, we're gonna go into, we might as well just keep it kind of a little bit more monochromatic. Sorry for that. We'll use a different color here. I'm gonna take the darker shade here. I probably just grabbed too big of a brush. Yeah, this is way too big of a brush, but we're gonna go with it anyway. Now, my eyelid is watering a little bit. Not my eye, but my eye affected too much. Sorry for grabbing the wrong brush size. I wasn't sure where I was going with it, and then, and then I kind of messed up. Again, not a professional YouTuber, not a makeup artist. You guys know this. Okay, this should be interesting. So the shade I'm going to on the Alter Ego side is called Rare, and it is a brown. Grab a little bit of that. And here, now I found that the Pat McGrath Lab, again, of a one dip application, gone into the Alter Ego a number of times to kind of get the saturation, and it's not there. Saturation isn't there. Just cleaned off the brush and just kind of buffing this in a little bit here because this eyelid seemed to be a little bit more watery. That's gonna not bode well. I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush, going back in on the Pat McGrath Lab side, and clean the brush off, going back in on the Alter Ego side over here. All right. We're getting there. I feel like color-wise, they're pretty similar. I mean, obviously I'm noting inconsistencies with the actual formula, but it's not horrible. Okay, you guys, I would normally have done a shade like this all over my lid because it's kind of this taupey, mauve-y, just beautiful color. Really, really love it. I love the way like these 6 shades right here are just stunningly perfect on their own, and then you've got these really beautiful shades down here at the bottom, these 4, more of her special shades. I'm gonna take one of them because, and now 2 of these are very similar. This one seems to have a little bit more of a orange shift to it. This one's more of a like a white gold, so I'm gonna take the one with a little bit more of the orange shift. It's like orange, pink, creamy, beautiful goodness, and we're just putting that right over the inner half. And because of my fat fingers, I've gone a little bit overzealous here. Your brush, and we're just gonna each other. Okay, I'm gonna go into the lighter mauve shade just over here, just to that line up a little bit. Dusty, smoky, beautiful. Love, love, love. This palette is just so nice. Okay, then we're gonna take, now on, I said that was the one with the orange shift, so we're gonna take Radiant over here, and that's gonna be separately. The Alter Ego formula itself is not horrible. You definitely can get good looks. If you're concerned that it's just gonna fall apart and be a mess, that is not my experience with the Alter Ego formula. So again, coming back to, can't really compare formulas. We're comparing more colors, and right now I feel like the Alter Ego gave me a little bit more orange, which makes sense, whereas the Pat McGrath gave me a little bit more gold. That's the main difference I see between the 2 of these at this point. Otherwise, to my non-makeup artist eye, they look very similar. I need to do a little bit of cleanup, put some mascara on. Maybe I'll put a little liner on too. I don't know, might as well. Oh, this will be interesting. I'm gonna use this Ofra liquid liner. Let me clean this up, and I'll be back. Just give me a second. All right, you guys, let's talk about this. Real talk. Let's talk about these 2 palettes. First off, Pat McGrath Labs. expensive. Not everybody is going to want to put that kind of coin into a palette. No issues at all. Respect that, actually. It's just makeup. Just washes off. It's a consumable, right? I mean, so unless you're someone who just buys very, very minimal cosmetics, you buy maybe a palette a season at most, then, and you want to justify, because I don't do it very often, I want to treat myself and I want to feel gorgeous and luxurious and, you know, all those kinds of stuff when I put my makeup on every day, then, or you're a collector or whatever else. Okay, great. Enjoy the finer things in life. This is like good wine. My husband and I had a bottle of wine last night, making some pasta and stuff, and he opened a bottle of wine and I'm like, oh, I don't like this. And he goes, well, then open up a different bottle. I'm like, you just opened it. And he goes, yeah, life's too short for bad wine. I grabbed another bottle of wine that had been sitting there for a long time that I love, not more, certainly, probably a third of the price. And he was like, oh my gosh, why don't we drink this more often? This is fantastic. Don't drink the wine if it's bad wine, okay? I'm just saying, make that choice. Same thing with makeup. If it makes you feel beautiful, and don't play with crap because you have it, you know, feel free to go for the good stuff. Life's too short. Buy the shoes. Okay, this palette here. This is a fantastic fall winter palette in my mind. If you are cool tones that occasionally dip into the warmer tones, you've got a couple warmer-ish shades in here. The rest is this is a cool tone palette. And I think that this is similar to some of the stuff that we've seen from, well, we've seen other cool tone palettes. If that is something that works with your aesthetic, your coloring, your vibe, this is a beautiful palette. Like, I don't have any complaints about this. It's slightly uninspiring. We don't have any great fantastic pops of color. I think that this is a palette that is super easy to use, easy to wear. The formula is great. And that's this eye over here. I have no complaint. That's my take on the Pat McGrath. Love, 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 love Mother Pat. No issues. Okay, so the Alter Ego. I have less experience with Alter Ego. I do have a number of their palettes. Again, all dupes. So if I haven't played with them yet in videos, then I will soon. Same to be said. This is a largely cool tone palette. We've got a couple warmer, warmer shades. Again, you've got this kind of orangey shimmer that I use today on this eye over here. The other shades lend more towards, you've got two warmer-ish shades. One that's more of a yellow, one that's more of that is orange background. And then this matte brown over here, I think is more on the milk chocolatey side, so slightly warmer, not necessarily the dark chocolate, but more of a milk chocolate, if that makes sense. Because of that, I really feel like you end up with the transition shade and the matte shade. The rest of them in here are shimmers, or like this one right here, Sacred, almost reads a little bit more glittery. I'm not gonna, I want to put it on here. It almost seems like a topper. I didn't put in any kind of like inner corner highlight. Should I do that? Yeah, let me do that really fast. I'm just grabbing Crystal on the Alter Ego side. I got distracted here. That color did the same thing to me that I think the Pat McGrath one does, and it's more of like a pink white shift. Just clean off the brush here. We're trusting but verifying here. So the one that's called Crystal, I thought was going to be a match for this one over here, but I think this one's more like spectral. This one over here, which is one of her special shades, is going to be, oh yeah, see, that's almost like a fuchsia pink. It's such an unexpected, surprising color. It's like fuchsia with gold, and I actually think Alter Ego did a very good job of duping that over here. They actually did a really good job of duping it over here. Wow. Okay, you guys, we don't have exact dupes with the Alter Ego, right? But it's a pretty eye look, and I think they did a very good job with the color story. I think it's very similar to the color story. I can tell you that I enjoy using the Alter Ego palette. I don't have the same feeling of like luxury, high end. That being said, I don't have any complaints about this palette. As a standalone palette, it all worked very cohesively. The formula ended up doing great. The colors look, right now when I look, especially after I put that kind of pink shimmer thing on it, I barely can tell the difference. And the main reason I can tell a difference is because this shimmer is slightly more orange and this one's slightly more gold. Good job, Alter Ego. Duping one of my favorites. I did use a little of the Sky High mascara. I didn't put on anything else. I mean, I did use the Ofra liquid liner, just a little tiny bit of that, but I didn't put anything else underneath because I had that other color kind of smudged under there, and I think it's fine the way it is. I don't want to put anything more over here. I'm just kind of blending that in together, kind of dusting that in. I don't know if this is helpful. I can tell you that I enjoy both of them. Is it an exact dupe? No. Formula, slightly different. Not horribly different, slightly different. Cohesive look, similar vibe. Yeah. And I don't know that if somebody saw me out on the street, they would go, oh, you're wearing less expensive, you know, budget-friendly eyeshadow. I don't think anybody would say that. I think they would say, wow, your eyeshadow is really pretty. If somebody actually commented on my eyeshadow in public. Okay, you guys, that's it for today's video. This is a good dupe for me. I have zero complaints. I did drop my Pat McGrath box though, so we're trying to, I think I need some tape or something to get it back together. The palette itself, whether you go with the high end or whether you go with a more budget friendly, the color story is very wearable, everyday, glasses friendly, work friendly. It's a very wearable color story. Very wearable palette. All right, you guys, that's it for my kind of rambling on today's video. Yeah, the Pat McGrath Labs palette, the case is heavier, it feels luxurious, it feels high-end, it's gorgeous. The Alter Ego version is your typical cardboard. I think it's made in the PRC, if I were to guess. ShopAlterEgo.com, distributed in Houston, cruelty-free, made in the PRC. Whereas the Pat McGrath Labs, if I were to guess, made in Italy. There you go. Different labs, similar result. You guys leave me a comment down below. Tell me, did you guys get this? Was this uninspiring to you, this particular color story? Or did you jump on it because you love the everyday, super wearable, easy to use makeup? Love to know your guys' thoughts on it. And I hope you guys are doing really well. I hope you guys are surviving the seasons. Yeah, that's it. I hope you are doing really well. I hope you guys feel that. Until my next video. Bye for now.